I hope so.
Is there anything that I can't say?
No, you can say whatever you want.
What if it gets me in trouble?
It's your issue, not mine. What would you say that would get you in trouble?
Oh, I see what you're trying to do there. Trying to get me in trouble.
Get in trouble with who?
Anyone.
Oh, okay. This is going to be a very clean interview, is it? I just hope that both sides have fun. Is that what you're going to try to say to me?
Yeah, that's the most important thing here is that all parties involved have fun and nobody's feelings are hurt and everyone's just all happy and all that bullshit.
And no one goes home upset.
No one. No one's allowed to be upset ever.
No, exactly. You guys going to shake hands afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called sportsmanship.
Why are you saying that like the rest of it was untrue?
This is not how I thought the interview was going to go, if I'm being honest.
Me neither. I thought I'd do an intro. It's Joel Rasmussen. I'm here with Ricky Biechun at Australian Elite Team. Ricky, it is good to see you. The people, I feel like they haven't seen you in a bit, not just fight-wise, but no socials anymore.
It's the way it should be. I don't need to be seen right now.
Except literally right now, where you are being.
Except literally right now. Yeah, no, don't care for socials.
How come? Was there an active choice to get rid of the socials?
I'd been wanting to get rid of it long before I actually did, but it is a necessary evil. But I just hit a point where I was like, this is not good for me. I need to get off of it. So once I made that call, just haven't looked back. I know I should get it again, but I'm in no hurry. Life is so much better without that shit. So,
as someone who spends way too much time on their phone, meaning me, what do you do with that extra 13 hours that you're not spending looking at your phone?
Training hard, getting ready to fight.
That definitely helps considering we are here at your gym before you train today and you're getting ready for a fight. How are we feeling? How is this number one training today? Where are we sitting on how many training sessions today?
This is number one session today. Fight week, so we're not doing anything crazy. We're not overdoing it. It's just, that plateau, deload, maintain. So it's just about feeling good this week.
How are we feeling? Are we feeling good?
This is the part where everyone tells you, yeah, I feel great. Camp's been going good. I can't wait. And you know what? I'm not going to bullshit you. It's shit. I'm hungry. I'm miserable. I have to cut weight for the first time ever. I'm water loading, so I'm pissing every 10 minutes. So I don't know how these smaller guys do it so often. Like, I always brag about having heavyweight privilege where I can eat what I want, do what I want, and it's not an issue. And now karma's really biting me in the ass.
Why is this the first time you're having a cut weight? What's been going on with the weight?
I got fat, is the obvious answer. Look, you know what? I got fat. That's the only way I can describe it. I enjoy eating as most people do, and I may have gone too far. And now that's biting me in the ass as well.
We've got some great promo for the fight coming out. I'm out of shape, but I'm still coming in. Is it all
shape?
Correct. Round is technically a shape. But I will say, I think you are looking fantastic. Be honest with me now. Is it all fat, or have we put on some extra muscle?
I think it's a bit of both, if I'm being honest. I started doing weights again recently as part of obviously my program, but also some rehab for an injury. So I think I put on a bit of muscle for that, as well as a decent amount of fat. But I think I'm starting to lose the fat now, but I've still got some to go.
So was it a conscious effort to build a little bit more muscle, go up a little bit in size? Have you ever felt undersized in the cage?
I used to be very undersized for the heavyweights. I used to walk around at about 105 and was, too lazy to cut to 93. So it's, yes is the short answer. I have felt undersized before, but now it's like, okay, I'm a legit heavyweight and actually have to cut to make the heaviest division. So as far as it being a conscious decision, not to put on size, it was just as a, to build strength and rehab, and a side effect of that was just getting heavier.
And talking about injuries and such, I don't mean to expose any coaches here, but we were talking to a coach just before, and he was talking about how he's dealing with a bit of an injury, and the first thing he asked you was, how have you turned up after Saturday? What happened on Saturday?
Nothing of particular interest. Just did a bit of a session, got a sweat on, and apparently, coach got injured.
So you weren't like throwing people over their head or anything. You weren't hitting German suplexes.
No, I would never do such a thing. Never.
So the first time I met you, Ricky, was the press conference for your last title fight. And does it feel like it's been a long time between title fights?
Yes and no. Just for how long ago that feels like a lifetime ago. But as far as fight-wise, no. I mean, that was only, 3 fights ago? Yeah. So, no. Time actually goes pretty quick it goes quick anyway, but when I break down, having a fight camp and if you have a back-to-back or it's in X amount of months or whatever, it actually goes pretty quick.
Well, that's it. Like, that's what I was kind of getting at with the question when I really think about it, I was like, didn't feel like that long ago. And also, especially in the heavyweight division, a title fight cannot go your way, and then pretty quickly you can be back in the title picture, you know what I mean? You string together the wins that you have. If we can go back to that title fight, did you think you'd be back in the title picture so relatively quickly?
I was definitely hoping so, but if I was being honest to say, would I be? I don't know. I knew it was going to be an effort to get there. I'd have to string a few good wins together, and luckily, things have gone my way. But at that point, I didn't think that far ahead. I guess I'm lucky to be back in the title picture. This is my 3rd crack at the Hex title. So some guys don't even get 1 crack, and this is my 3rd chance. So, you could call it luck, you could call it hard work. That's really not for me to decide. You can decide that. But the fact is I'm here now, so we'll see what happens. 3rd time's a charm.
Being here, talking about that, when you look at the Ricky Biechun who fought for the title the last time when you and I first met each other, and you look at yourself now, and you look at those 2 wins you have gotten, the training you've been putting in, the work you've done, what differences do you see? How are you better today than you were when you last fought for this title?
I think overall I'm in a much better place now than I was at that time. My training's been more structured. Overall, I'm happier. Like I said, better place mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I think that all that combined together with the training I've had and the team that we've got here is put me in a much better position now than I was back then.
You were fighting at Hex this week. You were fighting for the interim heavyweight title against Ken Viliamu. First off, how did this fight kind of come your way? When was it offered to you? How did Ken end up being the man you would be fighting?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be, peeling back the curtain a bit too much here, but it was originally slated to be a rematch with Randall, and then he was injured, and we got the news that he was out, and we still wanted to be active, so we were like, well, we want to fight on the March card. We were told we were going to be on the March card. So then they were looking for an opponent to make it the interim title, and he was the first name that came up, and it's like, fuck yeah, it'll be a good fight.
Did you know much about Ken prior to kind of that happening? Has he been someone that you'd kind of been watching in the division?
Yeah, we'd known about Ken for a while. Again, peeling back the curtain a bit. We're actually matched up with him originally back in, June last year? And then he had an injury, and we had to find a new opponent. So yeah, we've known the name. I've seen most of his fights. So he's been on the radar for a while.
What do you make of him as an opponent?
It's tough. Look, especially in heavyweights, you can't take anyone lightly. No pun intended. But it can always end instantly with that knockout punch. He's tough. He's well-rounded, and he's got that drive. He's got that dog in him. He'll just keep going. So I think knowing that about him and knowing what I'm capable of, it's going to be a fun fight.
Knowing what you are capable of, if you had to give a prediction, would there be one?
Yeah, I'm going to say round 3.
Via
TKO.
Very nice. Talking about the teammates a little bit, and a man that you and I were talking about before off camera, you dropped the name Ben Sassoli. But just before in this interview, you said you never really thought that much about the future. You never really I don't know what I'll be doing, in a few years or whatever. Let's focus on the now. But you're a man who trains with UFC fighters, former UFC fighters, the tops of the divisions. What is fighting to you? What is the goal? Why do you do this?
Ultimately, it comes down to it's challenging myself. When I started, thought it'd maybe just be one fight at a time. Once I had the first one, then it was the second one. UFC was never that's going to be a thing that'll happen. But the deeper I get into this, the more likely that it's a possibility. So if it happens, great. But if it doesn't, I've already gotten way further with this than I ever thought I would when I stepped into the gym for the first time. So I can't be mad at, I think I've done pretty well. So
I also think you have been doing very well. Talking about Ben Sassoli, he's a man who is training out of Combat 1 at the moment, but I don't know how AET kind of refers to it. It's like the family of gyms, you know what I mean? There's a lot of gyms have relationships. AET and Combat 1 have a relationship. Have you been mixing it up with Ben at all now that he's coming back to MMA?
I haven't been able to mix it up with Ben for a while, actually, which is, upsetting a little bit because, and it's no one's fault. It's just that things haven't worked out. The last time I saw him at a session that I would have been training, I was off injured, so I couldn't actually get any work in with him, which was heartbreaking. But no, not for a while. I don't think we've actually had a proper. I think we had a grapple maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, and that was fun. But other than that, no serious hard proper training.
Is it difficult to get those training partners? Because as a big guy, and also now a big guy who now cuts to heavyweight, you know what I mean? If you weren't walking around heavyweight wasn't enough. Is it? Yeah, no, please. All right, let's wrap this interview up. But is it difficult? Who are the people you mainly work with? Of course, we've got Jimmy Crude over here to our right. I know you guys mix it up a lot. But do you ever mix it up with, Jake when he's in, or, any of the welterweight dudes? Who are kind of the main people you train with?
Jimmy's the main one. Obviously, the next biggest here. We've got another boy that started recently, Flex. He's a big boy. He's been good to mix it up with. So that's his great addition to have to the team. As far as mixing up with some of the other guys, on occasion I'll mix it up with Jake or Kit Campbell. Obviously, the size is a factor in that, so it's you try to keep it as appropriate level as you can. But I mean, those guys are way faster than me anyway. So if we're striking, they're gonna fucking piece me up every day of the week.
Do you ever? We talked about it at the top of the interview. You ever bust out the German suplex? You ever just throw people over your head?
Not here, though. I think the last time I threw a German suplex on someone was over in Thailand, and he had it coming. So,
what weight was that, man? Flyweight.
I think he might have been a middleweight or a welterweight. I could be wrong. I don't know. It was a while ago.
You prefer to? What happened? Why did he? You said he deserved it. What happened?
Oh, he was winning. So I got a hold of his back, and I was like, "Motherfucker, you going for a ride?" So.
The grave mistake of winning against Ricky.
How dare he? The audacity.
And as I mentioned at the top, I thank you so much for the time. We are prior to your training session. What does training today look like for you?
So we'll be doing a bit of stretching. Sam's going to be running that. And then after that, I don't know, whatever Greco says. Might be just some bag work or some pads or some drills, or maybe he'll just be like, fuck you, go run around the block 6 times. I don't know. I just wait till I'm told what to do.
Before we started the interview, we were talking about the concept of interviews, and you were like, the best advice you ever heard about interviews was you always think of the best answer when you're driving home. How do you feel the interview's gone so far?
I think it's gone good, but I think on the way home I'm going to be like, it could have been better. But
that's probably me, though. It's probably my fault.
Oh, mate, don't make this awkward. No, you've done a fantastic job.
Thank you. I'm going to put that in the... that's going on the business card.
You should, in quotes. Yeah. Ricky Biechun approved.
Yes, Ricky Biechun, officially Ricky Biechun approved.
I want to see those business cards.
Don't worry, you'll see it when you see my grappling medal that I was meant to bring in, but totally forgot.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this. It was a Savage Grappling, the bronze medal. The
Bronze medal?
The one that you would not stop talking about at Fusion the other night.
Not at all, bro. When you're in the presence of greatness, you have to match it. You know, I mean, I tried. You know, that's why I name dropped it around you.
That's fair enough, but I mean, you were supposed to bring it in and you know, show everyone your greatness.
I was, but before I did this interview, I was at the gyms, as you can tell by my giant arms, and so I had to rush from doing arms today to being here. And I know you were intimidated by the size factor. So I appreciate you not it didn't show in the interview that you were intimidated by the size of my arms.
Look, this game's about the having that poker face, you know. So if you can stay composed when you're intimidated, you're halfway there. So.
And as I mentioned before, the first time I met you was at a Hex press conference. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first Hex press conference they ever did. Was it? I think so. Half the card wasn't there. Remember, they had to film it in halves.
Oh, yeah, that does ring a bell, actually.
Ruining the movie magic because they cut it together like everyone was on the stage.
Ruining the illusion of it all, man. What are you doing?
You've been pulling back the curtain during this interview. I thought I would. But
I don't do the camera stuff, man. I'm allowed to.
Well, how do you find it now? You were a part of the first press conference. Now doing this again, you'll be a part of it again. You're fighting for a title. How do you kind of find doing the interviews and being a little bit of a on-camera person?
Look, I hate being on camera, man. The less I think about it, the better I do. The only time I've been, I guess, comfortable talking on camera is when you're high on adrenaline after a win. But I'm sure watching this back, you'll notice I barely looked at the camera at all because if I know it's there, I'm going to, freeze up or say something stupid or make it awkward or weird or something. But look, again, it's part of the game. You got to get comfortable doing this. So it's good to get experience now and, not go in blind if, getting signed up to the big leagues.
Ricky, I appreciate the time. Last one from me. When I start these interviews, I'll have your name will pop up in the bottom and it'll say Ricky Biechun. Yeah, down over there. And I put people's name and then I put their Instagram handle. You do not have an Instagram. What would you like me to put there? What should your lower third say?
Hex interim heavyweight champion.
The shot has been called. Ricky Biechun, I thank you so much for the time. Best of luck in the fight. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.